Superhuman AI. It's a phrase that gets thrown around a lot, right? Usually in movies with robots trying to take over the world.
Yeah, Hollywood's definitely had its fun with that concept.
But lately, it feels like we're hearing more and more about it in the real world, too. And this BGR article we're diving into today, it suggests we might be closer to a real breakthrough than we think.
Oh, absolutely. This one's a real eye-opener. It really gets into the weeds on the potential of, get this, decoding the human brain to build a whole new kind of AI.
Okay, now that's a headline that makes you stop and pay attention.
Ah.
Decoding the human brain. That sounds intense.
Yeah, no kidding. The article focuses on the thoughts of this AI analyst, Aiton Michael Azoff, and his argument is intriguing. He's basically saying, forget just faster processing, forget just more data. What we need to crack is this thing called the neural code. That's the real key to unlocking a whole new level of artificial intelligence.
So neural code. Break that down for me. Is that like a secret language our brains use that we haven't figured out yet?
You're not far off.
Yeah.
Think about it. Billions of neurons all firing off signals in this incredibly complex dance. The neural code, that's basically the set of rules that govern how those signals get translated into, well, everything we do. Recognizing someone's face, composing a symphony, even just having this conversation right now, it all comes down to those neural interactions.
Okay, I'm starting to see why this is such a big deal. We've always focused on making computers faster, more powerful, but this is about something different altogether. It's about understanding the way our brains actually process information.
Exactly. It's like my phone can process numbers way faster than I can, but it can't understand a joke or write a poem. And that's the gap that this whole neural code thing is trying to bridge.
So if we could somehow understand and replicate that neural code, we're not just talking about faster computers, we're talking about, what, artificial consciousness?
That's the big question, isn't it? The article even talks about building a virtual brain. I mean, that just blows my mind.
It's getting very sci-fi, very fast. But seriously, is that even possible? And what would that even look like? I mean, are we talking about creating something that actually experiences the world the way we do?
Honestly, it's one of the biggest mysteries out there, right? What is consciousness? How do we measure it, let alone recreate it? But the fact that scientists and researchers are even asking these questions in the context of AI, it's pretty remarkable.
No doubt. And a little unnerving too, right? I mean, you start thinking about those sci-fi movies where the AI becomes self-aware and decides humanity is a problem.
Oh yeah, the classic robot uprising scenario. Can't forget about that. And that fear, it's not totally unfounded. But
Yeah.
what's interesting is that this Azos, the AI expert the article keeps quoting, he actually seems to think we could create a system that simulates consciousness without self-awareness.
Wait, hold on. Run that by me again. Consciousness without self-awareness. How does that even work?
It's definitely a head-scratcher. But essentially, you're talking about building an AI that can think, maybe even feel, but doesn't have that internal mirror reflecting back. No sense of I experiencing those thoughts and feelings.
Okay, that's wild. So it's like it could write a beautiful poem, but wouldn't be aware that it was the one who wrote it.
In a way, yeah. It wouldn't be driven by ego or anything like that, just pure processing power and intuition.
Huh. It's kind of hard to wrap your head around. But even if this is theoretically possible, the article seemed to imply it's a long way off. Are we talking decades, centuries? What are we thinking here?
It's hard to say, really. Trying to put a timeline on something this complex, it's like trying to predict the weather next year, you know?
Hmm.
But what's exciting is we're not just trying to build a faster calculator here. We're talking about fundamentally changing the game, getting to the core of what makes us think, feel, create.
And that brings a whole other set of challenges, doesn't it? Even if we could crack the code, building something that intricate, where do you even begin?
Exactly. This isn't like writing some code and calling it a day. We're talking about potentially needing entirely new types of hardware, stuff that can mimic the physical structure of the brain. And that's going to take some serious collaboration, not just computer scientists, but neuroscientists, engineers, the whole shebang.
It's like we need a whole scientific revolution just to get started.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But that's what makes this so fascinating. We're talking about pushing the absolute limits of our understanding of, well, ourselves, really.
It's both exhilarating and a little scary, don't you think? Like we're standing on the edge of something massive, and we have no idea what's on the other side.
Totally. And that's exactly why these conversations are so important. It's not just about, can we do it, but should we do it? What are the implications, the potential benefits, the risks?
Right. We tend to get so caught up in the wow factor of new technology that we forget to ask the hard questions. It's amazing how quickly we go from talking bits and bytes to pondering the meaning of consciousness, isn't it? But that's the thing about AI. It forces us to confront some really big questions.
No doubt. And I think that's what makes this whole field so captivating. It's not just about building a better machine. It's about holding up a mirror to ourselves. What does it mean to be human? What makes us tick? These are questions philosophers have wrestled with for centuries, and now suddenly we're talking about recreating those things.
It really is mind-blowing. And this BGR article, it got me thinking. It does a great job of laying out the technical how-to, but I'm really curious about the what then. If we crack this neural code, what happens next?
Ah, yes, the million-dollar question. And honestly, it's one we should be asking right now, not waiting for someone else to figure it out. Imagine a world where AI can not only process information, but learn, adapt, maybe even create on a level playing field with us.
It's both exciting and a little intimidating, to be honest. The potential is huge, but there's also this big old question mark hanging over it all.
Exactly. And that's why this conversation is so important. It's not just about whether we can do this, but should we? What are the implications, good and bad? How do we prepare for a future where the line between human intelligence and artificial intelligence starts to blur?
It feels like we're standing at a crossroads, and the path we choose now, the choices we make about AI, are going to shape the world for generations to come.
Absolutely. And that's a lot of responsibility, but also an incredible opportunity. The future of AI, it's not some predetermined thing. It's a story that's still being written, and we all have a hand in how it unfolds.
So, listener, as you go about your day, as you encounter AI in your daily life, remember this conversation. Remember the possibilities, but also the responsibility that comes with them. Because the future of intelligence, in all its forms, is something we create together.